The divided fan base. So let's talk about Max Verstappen, four-time world champion, 71 race wins. And somehow, he's still one of the most debated drivers on the grid. You either love this guy or you can't stand him. There's really no in-between, and that's what makes him so fascinating. If you're a Max fan, you'll tell me he's the fastest driver to ever sit in an F1 car. And you know what? That's not just random fan talk. Jenson Button, a world champion himself, literally said that. His fans love that he's brutally honest, no PR filter, no corporate speak. He'll tell you exactly what he thinks, even if it gets him in trouble. In a sport where everyone's coached to death on what to say, Max just doesn't care. Then there's the sim racing thing. This guy streams on Twitch, gaming with fans. He's not trying to be some untouchable superstar, making him relatable to younger fans. His never-give-up mentality is legendary. Take Brazil 2024 in the wet. That drive is already being talked about as one of the greatest performances ever. But here's where it gets interesting. For every fan who loves Max, there's someone who thinks he's too much. Back in 2016, FIA race director Charlie Whiting had to warn him for aggressive driving. Drivers complained enough that the FIA changed the rules and disallowed moving under braking. That's how aggressive he was. Then you've got the 2021 Abu Dhabi situation. Whether you think he deserved that championship or not, he definitely benefited from one of the most controversial decisions in F1 history. Some fans will never let that go. His dominance is another thing. Watching someone win 19 races out of 22 can get boring if you're not a Red Bull fan. And we can't ignore the Jos Verstappen factor. His dad's controversial past and brutal coaching style creates this narrative about privilege and pressure that rubs people the wrong way. The point is, Max doesn't race to make friends. He races to win. And depending on who you ask, that's either exactly what F1 needs or exactly what's wrong with modern racing. The races that defined him now. Let's talk about the races that really put Max on the map. Spain 2016 and Brazil 2016. Max Verstappen's breakthrough came in 2016 with Spain and Brazil, two races that announced his arrival as something extraordinary. Spain 2016 was a fairy tale. At 18 years and 228 days old, Red Bull promoted him from Toro Rosso that same weekend, swapping him for Kvyat. In his very first Red Bull race, he won, holding off Kimi Räikkönen after the Mercedes drivers crashed. Christian Horner joked he could legally be Max's father. But Brazil 2016 revealed his true genius. In brutal, wet conditions, Max delivered a performance that had commentators comparing him to Senna and Schumacher. He set a record with 78 overtakes in 2016, the most since 1983. Toto Wolff admitted he was watching something extraordinary. Max nearly spun into the barriers, dropped to 16th with 16 laps remaining, and still fought back to third. 2 races, 1 fairy tale debut, 1 masterclass in chaos. And Max was barely old enough to vote. How he stacks up against the legends. Here's where it gets really interesting. How does Max actually compare to the all-time greats? After 185 race weekends, comparing Max to other 3-time champions. Michael Schumacher had 5 titles, 67 wins, and 54 poles. Max had 4 titles, 71 wins, and 48 poles. Schumacher's numbers look better on paper, but here's the context. The calendar is way longer now. More races per season means more races pass before titles get secured. It's a different era. When you compare Max at age 28 to Lewis Hamilton at the same age, the gap is wild. Max had 71 wins and 4 titles. Hamilton had 105 wins and 7 titles. Max had 10.5 seasons under his belt by 28. Jackie Stewart called Verstappen the fastest in F1, but said he's still in the puppy stage of his career. 4 world championships, and he's supposedly still learning. He's rewriting record books, but is he the greatest ever? That's still up for debate. The record-breaking 2023 season. Let's talk about 2023, because that season was absolutely historic. Max won 19 races out of 22. That's an 86% win rate. He broke Alberto Ascari's record from 1952 of 75%, a record that stood for 71 years. He won 10 consecutive races from Miami to Italy, breaking Sebastian Vettel's record of 9 straight wins. He scored 575 points, the most ever in a single season. He became the first driver to win 3 times in one country in the same season when he swept Miami, Austin, and Las Vegas, and he completed over 1,000 laps in the lead, beating Vettel's previous record of 739 from 2011. 2023 wasn't just a championship season, it was a complete demolition of the F1 record books that honestly might never be matched. The rivalries and the beef. Now here's where Max's story gets spicy. The Ocon incident in Brazil 2018 is legendary. Ocon, a lapped car, collided with race leader Verstappen and cost him the win. After the race, Max pushed Ocon several times in the chest at the FIA weighbridge. Over the radio, he'd said he hoped he couldn't find Ocon in the paddock. Max got 2 days of public service for failing to act as a role model. He admitted he lost his temper. Then there's Charles Leclerc. Their rivalry goes back to 2012 in karting. Remember the famous nothing, just an incident moment? Leclerc admitted they hated each other at one point because their battles often didn't end well. The 2019 Austrian Grand Prix incident where Max forced Charles off track. Anthony Davidson said Charles has never forgiven him for that. Despite the tension, they've got mutual respect. They raced each other from age 12. And now we've got the George Russell situation. In Qatar 2024, Max got a grid penalty after Russell complained about slow driving in qualifying. Max said he lost all respect for Russell, calling him two-faced. Russell fired back, accusing Max of threatening behavior and bullying. At the end of season dinner, Russell literally moved his chair away from Max. In Spain 2025, things escalated when Max deliberately drove into Russell after being ordered to let him pass. Russell said in February that things got out of line and he's not going to take it anymore. From shoving Ocon to an ongoing war with Russell, Max's feuds are as legendary as his wins. So here's the thing about Max Verstappen. Love him or hate him, you absolutely cannot ignore him. 4 world championships, 71 race wins, countless broken records, a trail of rivals who learned the hard way that when you race Max, you better be ready for a war. Because in his world, there's only one rule: win at all costs. He's the most polarizing driver in Formula One, and honestly, he wouldn't have it any other way.